Okay, I'm back, and I know I'm pretty late today, but let's do this. Let's read it first, clearly, fast. How did U.S. War of Independence begin? Uh, my dear friends, today I'm having cold, so it will be very difficult for me to pronounce a lot of words. So I hope you will understand. By 1775, tension between the colonies and the mother country had reached breaking point. General George, who was in charge of the British troops in Boston, learned that colonists had hidden a large quantity of weapons nearby Concord. G- Gaggy, Gaggy sent a detachment of soldiers to seize the rebel leader and destroy the stores of ammunition. Two brave men. I think you have read it. Let me check. I think I have read this already. Oh wait, yeah, I got it. I have already read this one. Yeah, yeah. Okay. How did American Revolution affect slavery? Oh wait, what was the American Revolution? Revolution is revolution at all. Although the American Revolution brought the colonies independence from British rules, many did not come consider it as revolution in real sense of the word. The is reason for this is the freedom did not bring sudden or drastic change in lives of people. Society and politics were still dominated by wealthy, and only those who owned property had right to vote. Women generally had no political power, and there was still thousands of slaves in South. Native American Native Americans were even worse off all the revolution because the colonists moved into their lands, something that had not happened during British rule. Sorry about this. Victory Yorktown. The Battle of Yorktown was the battle that ended the Revolutionary War. It took place in 1777 in Yorktown, Virginia, where the British troops were camped out. Americans tricked the American tricked the British into thinking they would be in New York, but actually they went South Virginia. They surrounded the British by land and cut off their escape route by the York River. The British surrendered at Yorktown on 19th October 1781. What was the society like France before the French Revolution? Right before the French Revolution, society in France consisted of three major groups or states. There, these three states were kept separate. The first East state consisted of clergymen of the Roman Catholic Church. They owned much at they owned much of the land of France and were not taxed at all. The second estate consisted of those who had been born into nobility. They were taxed very little and owned land more than the clergymen. The third estate was future divided into bourgeois or wealthy merchants, the artisan and craftsmen. All were taxed absurdly high compared to the first or second estate. The French king believed that he was responsible only to God and that no one should question his action. The entire social system benefited the rich taxed poor to point where they were starving while nobles down the street were feasting. Who were the philosophers who supported the French Revolution? The French Revolution was influenced by the writing of three brilliant philosophers. There was Voltaire, who poked fun of government, the Baron, the Mostic, Mos, Monstiquester, Soothsayer, Placed, and Third Estate. I don't know how to pronounce these words, to be honest. Who who argued that power should lie in hand of people. The work of those philosophers increased the discontent felt by the middle class and made them resent their position bit early. What were the cause of French Revolution? The main cause of French Revolution was political and social inequality that existed. The noble and clergy enjoyed special privilege. The common people did not have power and freedom in politics. They worked hard and had to pay heavy taxes. This caused a lot of resentment and discontent amongst third estate. The second cause was that the government was bankrupt. The King Louis uh, 15 spent too much money in his own pleasure, while the poor starving. The writing entitled thinkers and the success of American Revolution also inspired the French people to revolt against the king. What was the Commune? The Paris Commune during the French Revolution was the government of Paris from 1789 until 1975. During the Paris Commune, the working people of Paris held political power until their downfall in the last week of May. Marie Antoine. Marie Antoinette, the French Queen of Louis XVI, is perhaps the best remembered for her legendary extravagance. She was also accused of being indifferent to hardship of poor. There is a story that she was told that poor was starving because they would have not afford to buy bread. She replied, "Let them eat cake." She was executed by Bouteille and High of French Revolution in 1793 for crime of treason. Who was a Louis VI? Louis VI, king of France, ascended the throne at age of 20. He was the average intelligence but was not overly concerned with the running of country. When he came to power, France was deeply in debt. Louis tried to carry out some reforms that they were proposed by the chief financial officer named Robert Jacques Turgot, who was the brilliant and creative administrator, but he was opposed by nobles and clergy. When the reform failed, Louis dismissed Turgot. The country fell into ruinous financial crisis. At the heart of this crisis was financial and administrative management of taxes. If these reforms gone through, the revolution probably would never happen. How did France become bankrupt? France was one of the wealthiest countries in Europe, yet it became bankrupt. How did it happen? Well, the government began to spend more and more without doing anything to increase revenue. By the time Louis VI came to throne, France was heavily in debt. However, if he had spent the money he was getting from taxes wisely and carefully, he could have been repaid the debt with few years. Louis VI was neither wise nor careful. France was also supporting Americans in their war of independence, and this took up a lot of their income. So Louis VI borrowed heavily to meet his expenses. Finally, the interest of debt began to pile up, and no one was prepared to lend them any more money. The government became bankrupt, and this was one of the main causes of French Revolution. Tennis, Tennis Court Oath. On June 17, 1789, the Third Estate formed the National Assembly and invited the representatives of clergy and nobility to join them. 3 days later, finding themselves locked out of hall where usually met, the marched as a group to loyal tennis court, where each man swore an oath not to disband until France has a new constitution. This is known as the tennis court oath and is considered to many people many to be being a French revolution. We are not starting this match with love, okay? How did revolutionaries attack the Bastille? In Paris, Bastille was the medieval fortress where King Louis used to hold prisoner when the king refused to accept the National Assembly and give the people say that government. 5,000 people looted an armory on July 14, 1789 and marched to the Bastille. Bastille. They stormed the prison, found a merry 7 person inside, and freed them. Although the king devised this attack as nothing, it was an extremely important event for it led to French Revolution which lasted years. Wait, what is happening? Why it is showing that we are having a black screen? This makes no sense. Oh my, all this time I was streaming a black screen. Man, this was so bad. I was not expecting this. Oh boy. Why did the National Assembly form as free for centuries Frenchmen had elected deputies for the body called East State General? However, the East State General had not been called into session since 1640. The July 1788 because of unresolved and mounting financial crisis. Louis VI called a meeting of East State General which met a Versailles on May 1789. May 5, 1789. However, the meeting ended in discord. The nobility wanted three states to meet up separately and vote as individual bodies. This was given to them unfair advantage since they would vote together against the third estate. The third estate was therefore not willing to accept the proposal. The third estate finally broke the settlement on June 1789. The third estate declared itself a national assembly which would have the sole right to control taxation. Some noble and clergymen did join them, but the majority were outraged and declared a national assembly to illegal. This was sparked the elite and the flame of French Revolution. I started revolution already from my house. Okay, it was revolution. In the beginning, Louis VI did not pay much attention to the discontent and his subject. When he told about the fall of Bastille, he asked, "Is it revolt?" They replied, "No, sir, it's not revolution." This was the first time Louis realized that how serious the situation was. Peter Hunger, the 1717 and 1780 was the time the economic depression in France. Manufacturing trade was down, the harvests were poor, unemployment and hunger became serious problem by 1889. The price of bread had almost doubled and the starving mobs attacked bakeries and mills. In fact, it can say that the French Revolution is a classic case of hunger leading to violence. What was the role of peasant and worker. The peasant and workers were the heart and soul of French Revolution. In fact, you can say that the French Revolution took place when the peasant and worker of France fought their independence. The revolution started because the peasant are unhappy with the way France has been run. They did not like the fact that they had to pay the most taxes. They also could not get any well-paid job and they were starving. The peasant and the workers did not like King Louis XVI because he did not seem to care much about the country. He seemed more interested in his own family and his pleasure. They disliked the Queen Mary Anthony. People thought that she wasn't the country body, was herself. It interfered with the ruling the government. The president formed more than half a population of the French, and their anger fulfilled riot into many parts of the country. The riot finally led to the storming of the Bastille and the French Revolution. Jean-Paul Marat. Jean-Paul Marat was the famous French doctor and the physicist. He is the best known as the radical journalist and the politician of French Revolution. His journalism was renowned by its fiery character and uncompromising stance towards the new government for two short months leading up to downfall of the Grodin faction in June. He was one of the three most important men in France alongside the Danton and Robespierre before he was killed. Why does the Declaration of Right of Man is so important? Declaration of Right of Man laid down fundamental rights for French citizens, all the men without expectation. It made no mention of the women and slaves. It declared that all the men are born free and equal, and that whoever belongs to the people and are not king and queens. All citizens were granted the right of liberty, property, security, and assistance to oppression, and the law was to be an expression and the general will for people. The declaration is very important because it marked the first step in change over the four absolute monarchy, where the people was unquestioned ruler. The constitutional monarchy, where the king was the head of the government, but the power lay with the elected representatives of the people. The declaration has influenced, inspired the ideal and monarchy through the world. Okay, my dear friends, I'm gonna end the stream here because I'm not feeling very well. I'm having a very hard cold. I mean, cold. I seriously got a cold. I don't know how, but this is getting serious, so I should take proper rest now. So I'm gonna end the stream here. And thank you for watching. If you're watching my stream later, I will not expecting anyone, but still, I'm thanking if you have watched my video. Thank you for watching, bro. I will talk to you later. So until then, bye everyone.